So there we are, day 2 of the horrific Romford 2024 Film Festival is underway, and we've just had some shots there, some great little shots, and we've got a couple of the creators here to talk about them. Could we just go down the line, explain who we are and what movie we were part of?
Yeah, I'm Stephen Coles. I was the director-writer of Enter the Dark Woods.
Yeah, I'm Anthony Moran. I made Fister.
So, Anthony, everybody here has just sat and watched your movie. I want to know where this came from. What was the inspiration for this movie?
I've just gone back to university as a mature student, and it was my final project, my final major project for it. I just wanted to go out with a bang, basically, and produce something a bit over-ambitious. It started with, I just had the idea for the opening scene, to be honest. It was just something that popped into my head when one of the university lecturers told me that they'd seen it all. When I said I wanted to do something special at the end, and that opening scene sort of popped into my head, and I worked on that. So it went from there.
And how much fun was it creating that set?
The set? Yeah, the set was amazing. I can't take any credit for it, to be honest. I sort of had the idea in my mind, and my wife created that set from scratch. She basically pulled everything that we sort of barely use that's electrical apart in the house, and threw that together for us. Yeah, it was fantastic. Yeah, it took about 3 days on that, actually. Well, she spent about 6 months making all the electrical kind of stuff, like all the VR headsets and all that. And then we had to paint up the set, and yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was a good few days.
And how did you go about getting Lawrence into it? Because I think everybody knows Lawrence at this point. We've seen him all over the place. But
when I wrote the film, I had no one in mind for the actual character. I had no idea what he looked like, and just by chance I saw that Lawrence lived sort of next town along to me, kind of thing, and I just took a chance and messaged him, arranged to meet him for a coffee. I didn't even have a script at the time. I just sort of told him the concept, and he agreed. Yeah, I was like quite shocked. He just agreed to do it. So then everything got built around him there from there on.
And Stephen, Enter the Dark Woods. Mm-hmm. Where did this come from for you?
Originally from, inspired by Twitter, essentially, and just how toxic it is, and particularly a colleague of mine and how she was treated on Twitter, and for me there's the whole gender thing, I think, in terms of, and I think also race as well, in terms of, so that was the main bit. And then for me, in terms of the look of it, I'm into metal, so kind of that had an influence on like fairy tales, and they're the main things. But yeah, Twitter, I say inspired, but yeah, it's just, and I want to just take that kind of emotional violence for me that you see on social media, and just try to portray that in terms of the visuals and the kind of the sound, in terms of, I just want to get that emotional impact across, really.
One thing I will say about your short is 3 minutes is far too short for this. Are you ever going to plan on embellishing on this a little bit? It's one of the first things I thought about it.
No, I think I'll probably leave it as it is now. Actually, I've got some other bits and pieces in the pipeline. But yeah, also the editor. He's always someone who he trims every inch of fat off it. He's always, you can go shorter. So that's part of it. But yeah, it potentially could have been longer. But I wanted it to be like a short punch to the gut, really. Yeah.
And what do you hope people take away from each of your movies when they come and see it? I mean, I think I know what I came away with, but...
what did you come away with? That's interesting.
I felt a bit icky.
Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I went for shock value with it. To be honest, the original script was 30 pages long, and it sort of, it was a 30-minute film. Kind of expanded the universe a little bit. But with the university, I had to do it was supposed to be a 10-minute film I was supposed to produce, and I was stretching it at 15, so it ended up being a really condensed, and I just picked all the worst bits out, to be honest, just to tell that kind of story, and to give that shock value. But yeah, the shock value, that's all I went for with it, really, I suppose.
Did you pass the course?
Yeah, I got first student of the year, everything.
Awesome. So how was it, the process of filmmaking and getting into how you're going to make these movies, and how did you take to your shorts? Sort of, what process did you approach it with?
I suppose for myself, this is my first film, so I was just doing some online courses, and then COVID hit, and then a group formed over online between London and Leicester, and we've continued meeting, and so we started and making the films together. So I AD'd on one film before this, and then I just had a script, and then I thought I'm just going to do a script, and I thought, oh, screw it, I'm just going to have a go. And I just took it as, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm just going to ask lots of questions, and I'm going to look at YouTube a lot and find stuff out. And I just went, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to go for it, and just actually make mistakes and try to learn as much as I can, and just loved it really, actually, as a process.
And with that, learning as you go and learning what you can, did you maybe learn anything about yourself within the process of this?
That's a really good question. I think it increased my confidence in some ways, in being able to do some stuff, and also I realised some of the stuff I do in like my day job kind of translated to like being a film director. So there's actually some stuff I could like take forward and that. And yeah, the other bit I kind of thought was, I probably took the wrong degree when I was like in my 20s, but it's a bit late. So that's one thing. Yeah.
And Anthony, yourself, you learn anything about yourself while making this? I really don't want to ask that question.
Well, I don't know, they say that you leave a little bit of yourself in every film, don't they? And I don't know what that sort of says about me, really. Yeah, I don't know. I learned some limitations, I think, like, cause I take on a lot whenever I make a film. I take on a lot of the roles myself, like, you know, sort of, I always want to do camera. I always want to have the final edit as well. And yeah, it was quite a difficult process in the end. There was a lot of elements that I had to bring together with the green screen and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah, there was too much, and I needed a bit more help than I took. You know, that I was trying to micromanage everything myself, really. But yeah, I realised that I need to collaborate a bit more, like sort of thing, and bring other people in to help me out.
So we're going to jump to the audience in a second, but first of all, what inspires you guys as filmmakers? Like, what makes you, what drives you and feeds the soul to keep making movies?
I don't know. I suppose for me, it's taking things that I kind of like, I think are important, or that I kind of love, and just being able to translate it into like a big screen and sound, and that's just really, and then be able to share it with people. I think that's just really exciting, and I really love the process of making a film. And for me, like, I think it is a completely collaborative effort, like how, you know, in terms of the editor and the DOP and the sound design and all that. And I love that kind of collaborative and working with the actor. So yeah, that the process itself drives me on, and also, but just when you see the final product and you can hear it, I love hearing stuff loud. So yeah.
Yeah, I'd say similar sort of thing. Yeah, the process of filmmaking, because there's so many sort of elements along, you know, with it, and it's not. I've come from a photography background, so like, you know, with photography, everything's quite sort of instant and so, you know, quite gratifying. You've got a product at the end, you know, after you've taken your photo and edit it. Whereas with film, you know, it takes quite a while longer. There's all the sort of different stages. I love the screenwriting. That was something that I discovered during my university. You know, I did a screenwriting degree, and I'd actually changed over from a filmmaking one. I'd never, because being a visual person, I'd never sort of written before, but once I started, it was like, yeah, so I've lost my train of thought, sorry.
Do we have any questions from the audience?
Very quiet audience here, but I've got one. But
we've got two. Buy one, get one free.
Well, let's start at the back, and I'll make my way forward. Hang on.
Hello. Fantastic films, by the way, guys. Fister made me feel weird. I haven't felt that way since a teenage boy. My question's for Andy, right? You did Fister, was it? Sorry, a bit hard here.
Anthony.
Anthony's. You know when Lawrence Harvey bites the head, and I know this is just because I'm overweight, what was it made out of? Because it looked really juicy and nice. Like a cherry, perhaps?
It was actually like, it was just a silicone baby doll that I bought on Wish or something like that in the end. But yeah, it was just like a little silicone doll. Just to tell you the story on the filming day, Lawrence wasn't supposed to actually bite the head of the baby. He was supposed to bite into the side of it, like sort of thing. It was supposed to be a shot of him just going, "Ow," and then we were going to cut to him like sort of chewing. He stuck the baby in his own mouth and stuff, and the whole set just went, like, it was brilliant, like a really sort of improvised moment from him. But he was amazing. If you get the chance to work with him, and you know, he's really approachable as well. I'd just say as well, he's like, you know, fantastic, and he just brings something to a set, just, you know, something really special, to be honest, really good.
Just moving forward. Was there a question here, someone?
I appreciate all the work that's gone into both of your films. Anthony, I just wanted to ask you, being a mature student, your experiences sound really interesting. What did you bring to your film studies as a mature student? Because I think what you said about the photography, that was instant, you know, you had the product there, and then when you do films, it's more of a longer term thing, so you have to know that there is an eventual outcome, and kind of how that sort, what you brought to that.
I went into university with the intention of setting up like a video production company kind of thing. That was my like doing commercial kind of stuff, and that quickly changed when I discovered the kind of screenwriting. I think from a filmmaking perspective, from that kind of side of things, just having a good eye for composition, understanding how a camera works, understanding, you know, sort of aperture lighting especially, and stuff. I think I sort of brought that, you know, like through into my studies there. But I think just having a bit of life experience as well. I was very, very aware that I was a 40-odd-year-old man in a room full of, you know, what I found out was 18-year-olds on my first day. I felt very old, like, you know, I've got tattoos older than some of these kids who I was sat sort of next to, and I was a bit like, ooh. Yeah, so it's you know, and I also felt very sort of out of the loop with some of the technology, and you know, there was a very big deal of imposter syndrome when I first got there, because these were all kids who were really savvy on video editing, really good transitions, impressive SFX and stuff like that. So I felt like I had to sort of up my game a little bit as well, like. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. If that's...
Yeah, it's really interesting. I think it's very relatable about the imposter syndrome, but I'm sure you influenced them as well.
Yeah, some of them, some of them just thought I was the weird old guy on the course, and you know, wouldn't come anywhere near me. But you know, I made some good friends and contacts on there as well. Is it something you're thinking of doing?
Sorry?
Is it something you're thinking of doing, going to university?
Well, Steve, no, he's not Steve, my husband, next to you. So,
Yeah, it's my wife.
Oh right.
She's a second AD. She looked after the actors. If you ever want anyone looking after actors, she's very good at it.
I just think education's wasted on the young a little bit as well. I was there and very eager to learn, and some of the kids that were on the course were just tossing it off, like, you know, just. But yeah.
What top tips would you give for filmmakers?
Me? Yes.
Both of you.
Oh, go on. I'll let you go on to chat.
I just keep asking questions, especially as a new filmmaker. Don't worry about like not knowing something, and don't pretend you know something. Well, some bits I did pretend, but even if you feel like an imposter, just do it anyway. And actually, you probably have a lot of skills. But for me, just keep asking questions, and also realise you're not doing it on your own. And I suppose I'm really lucky. The group I'm in is really like very supportive, and it can feel like a big challenge, and it is a lot of work. But actually, some of the bits I was worrying about before I stepped into making the film, they got solved by other people in terms of, like, all the keyboards. I was thinking, where the bloody hell do I get all these? Because you smash up quite a few during. But a guy, he just went, yeah, I've got loads. Don't worry about it. In the group, I think he got them from somewhere he works, so I probably shouldn't give his name out. But so for me, just feel free, make mistakes, ask questions, and just keep going forward, really, and realise that you're just not on your own with it. But I think they're the main bits for me.
And I just think be a bit fearless with it as well. I just think like with sort of modern technology and with what's available, you can sort of do anything. I'm well aware of the you know, the technical limitations on Fister and stuff. And you know, I was hoping to have, when I was first planning it, hoping to have better special effects and stuff like that. But when it came down to it, you know, I just had to make it with what I had with it. You know, a lot of the backgrounds on those things were just done on AI on my phone, and you know, I was just like, so you know, and this was a couple of years ago when I was making these AI backgrounds before the technology was there, but it was there, and it was just, I was just using what I could from there. But yeah.
For both filmmakers, what was your biggest filming challenge shooting your films?
For me, it was probably the not necessarily filming, but probably the fight sequence. So one, I didn't know how to choreograph, so I had to learn I learned a choreographing system from YouTube about 2-3 weeks before we filmed, and then my wife, brother-in-law, and my sister, we kind of like blocked it out in my back garden. And then I noted it down, and then the next week the actors came along. I had to pretend I knew what I was doing, and luckily they had stage combat training, and we did it, and then we filmed it the week after. For me, that felt like the biggest challenge, and I was really happy actually with how it came out. But that was definitely kind of just on the edge of my seat, just kind of like holding on. I am really just kind of making this up as I go along, and kind of, but hopefully, it pulled it off really. But it was literally a French system for choreographing fight sequence, and I used that to number and then filmed it. So that was probably the biggest bit. The longest bit though was in our living room, getting the lighting right. It was just a nightmare, and it was near the end of the first day, and the first AD didn't look very happy near the end. She was like, "You just gotta get this done." But so they were probably the two main bits.
For me, I'd say it was casting for Fister, definitely. I got my main star pretty quick, but then trying to fill some of them other roles and sending that script out to people, I got a few firm no's, especially for the role of the social worker and stuff. I could not get a girl to play that part. I was sort of lucky that on the day I was due to be filming, because we filmed the first day with Lawrence, which was mostly the opening scene, all that sort of like naughty stuff that you see there, and then on the second day we were supposed to be fully on the green screen there, and I didn't have an actress until the morning of the shoot, and I'd approached someone who was working on a different student film, and I nicked her for the day. To be honest, she was supposed to be shooting with someone else, and I nicked her for the day. She didn't quite know what she was signing up for, to be honest. I don't think until the day. And the girl who was being sick on the first sort of video broadcast that you see, there was another actress who was supposed to be coming for that, who didn't turn up on the day, and it was the last scene to be filmed. We were supposed to be filming that just after lunch. And I was panicking because this girl hadn't turned up. I was going to step in and do the role myself. And then I went into the lift in the university, and I was just in with this big bunch of girls, like just young girls there, and I just said, "Does anyone want to be in a film? You just got to sort of throw up on camera," sort of thing. And this little girl went, "I'll do it," straight away. She said that she was one of the SFX students, like sort of thing. She was fantastic. She'd done an A-level in drama, I think, or something, and she just came on and just did it really well. We were really lucky. But yeah, casting is something I've always sort of struggled with as well. Not something I always leave it too late. I think that's the problem with it. Yeah.
So with that being things that are challenging for you and everything, you've sat in the audience today and you've watched your films up on the screen today. What are you most proud of? What is the thing you see up there and you smashed it that day, you love it?
For me, it's that opening scene, the opening scene of the thing. Just I don't know. I was really proud. I filmed the entire thing, and I was sort of just on the hoof. I didn't really have the storyboards or anything like that. I was just moving the camera and asking Lawrence to, with his appendage on, like to sort of move around the set quite a lot. And I was just trying to film it. But when it cut together just exactly how I had it in my head, and I was really happy with that. Yeah.
That's also Peter's favourite scene.
I'm not sure actually. Just having it up on the screen was felt like an achievement. But yeah, my favourite 2 bits is probably I quite like the wide bit of like my troll and Brian under the bridge with the red baby in the background, and also just the fight sequence really, and just the kind of and like the sound the guy with on sound Angal. He was great, and just the layers and layers of sound and matching that up with that and the fight sequence, that was great, and he's great. I'd recommend him. Angel Russell de Pablos. He's give him a shout out there. He also works at the Kerr Theatre in Leicester, so look him up. Yeah, so that's probably it. Probably the sound and the fight, but also like the bit under the bridge.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for submitting your movie to us, for letting us show it today, and of course for being here. And the last thing I'm going to ask is, if you were in a slasher movie, what would you rather face? A Chucky-sized Jason or a Jason-sized Chucky?
Wow.
I'd go for the Chucky-sized Jason.
I think you're right. I think I'd go smaller. Yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
I can just boot him.
That's Jason, isn't it?
That's true. Yeah.
Right, guys. Thank you so much for giving us your movies and being here.
Yeah. Thanks a lot.